What is up, everybody? This is the one and only yours truly, Sugi Strategy, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Age of Empires 2 latest expansion pack, The Rise of the Rajas, which takes place in Southeast Asia. And once again, we have 4 new civilizations, which each are having their own campaign. We have the Vietnamese, we have the Malay, we have the Khmer, we have the Burmese. And in total, there are 21 maps. The Vietnamese have 6 and the others have 5. It took me roughly around 35 hours to complete all the campaigns, which is a pretty good hour amount when you compare it to the previous expansions, and also the fact that it's only $10 on Steam, so it's a rather cheap deal, and you get really best bang for the buck, so to speak. And when it comes to the campaigns, I think the Vietnamese one is the hardest and it's the best at the same time. And as the overall quality of the campaign, I think it's pretty good. It's more consistent because in African kingdoms, you had few of those maps that were really shit and you didn't really want to play. You just typed in Black Death and moved it to the next map, literally. And in this one, there's more consistency. There isn't really like ones that are really good, nor there are ones that are really bad. So all of them are pretty okay, pretty good, like in a better side of things. And I like that consistency there. Although African Kingdom had I think one of the Portuguese maps was really amazing where you had to build a wonder and defend it. I really love that one and that was really epic. And maybe in this one you didn't have those. You had one in the Vietnamese campaign that kind of was touching the surface of a really epic map. But for the most part, I did enjoy my experience with the campaign. One point of criticism though, the narration that happens for all of these 4 campaigns, I felt that they didn't really pick people from that region to actually, narrate the thing. It felt that there was some Afro-American people in some of the campaign narration, which didn't really sold me the whole thing because that's not how the Southeast Asian people sound like. Maybe you can pass it for the Burmese and the Khmer, but the Vietnamese and the Malay definitely didn't have, a correct respondent for their language or someone that sounded like Asian to me, but that's me. And when it comes to other stuff that is included, the African kingdoms added a lot more stuff in general, but there is a lot of other stuff outside the civilizations and the campaigns. We have obviously new units. So for example, the Vietnamese have their castle unit, the Rattan Archer, which is a bit different because it's heavily armored ranged unit, so it's really effective against other archers. The Malays have an ability to upgrade their harbors to shoot arrows. This is pretty sick, actually. This is really fun and unique type of unit. And then they have the Karambit Warrior, which is essentially a melee unit. It's kind of similar to one of the African Kingdom ones, a really fast melee unit. The Khmer have the Ballista Elephant, which is an elephant that has a ballista on top. Well, I'm not sure is this historically accurate, but I hope the Skybox did their research, and it probably is, but I never seen pictures or any other game have fucking ballistas on elephants, but I guess, it happened, and it can be upgraded to shoot actually 2 of those huge arrows at once. And then you have the Burmese have the Arambai, which is a ranged cavalry unit, but it's a deadly attack, so with high damage but a low accuracy. And then there's also battle elephants, which are pretty much like elephant units which you can do from the cavalry houses, and they can do pretty much pretty high damage, and obviously they're weak against spears. I think this is available for many factions. I think it's for the Persians and all others who have elephants in general, and they're really strong in my opinion. And then you have Imperial Skirmisher, which is a long upgrade for the Elite Skirmisher unit, and this is available for the Vietnamese and all of its teammates. Essentially, it's a really strong unit, and essentially I like the new units. I think bring something new to the game. Obviously, It's not like, hey, let's make a new unit, a new name, a new model, and that's it. But they, you know, there's somehow some of them, especially like the elephants and the dogs, you know, they bring a new aspect to the gameplay, definitely. Then you have obviously like new environment where you have these massive rainforests, and then you have this sort of a watery ground where you can build upon a bit. So like a lot of peach tiles, and a lot of them looked really nice and a lot of cool. And then you have like new random and special and real world maps, and there are a lot of new scenario editor objects, and there's also a spectator mode which I haven't looked upon, and I can't really comment on that. But there are some improvements to my understanding. For example, when you had a siege weapon like onager or trebuchet, you had to like click the attack crown to destroy trees. And I believe in this patch or in this expansion they added that you can just right click with that unit on the tree and it will attack it, which is really nice. Nice feature to be added. So it kind of, you know, lessens the time of, you know, pushing a hotkey or learning a hotkey for one, because I never learned it. But for the most part, it is a pretty good campaign. I mean, sorry, pretty good expansion pack. It's only $10. If you really like those campaigns on the other ones, you're gonna enjoy these ones as well. Maybe not so known in terms of history. I almost know nothing about Southeast Asian regions in general. So it was a bit of an experience to learn a bit about. I think, you know, the Laloy, the story of the Vietnam and their independence, was probably the best one of them all. And I definitely recommend everybody buying it because, as I said, it is a pretty good value for the money. None of the campaign maps crashed for me. The game never crashed on these 35-hour thing. A lot of the bugs have been, some of the bugs have been fixed, but there was definitely some exploits those that you could do in certain maps in the campaign. Maybe there were some you know, maybe some of the cliffs were not working as they were supposed to. You know, you can do stuff like when you get like in certain stages you get a monk, you can change the allied faction to neutral, and then you can just convert their units to your own, and this made some of the maps really easier to complete. And it's something that I've been using on each of the campaigns, and I really feel smart about doing that. But for the most part, you know, it's a really great campaign. Maybe it didn't have other ulterior features as much as the African kingdoms had, but if you already have own African kingdoms, then you probably want to buy this too. As for what comes to the 2D art, pretty good as always. But although I think that the four factions that were introduced in this expansion pack, I think they had maybe two artistically similar buildings, and they share a lot of the similar building textures, which maybe I would have maybe want to see some diversity, and I couldn't tell them apart right now if you put them, but maybe in true time I would. But that's kind of my review up for now. If you're interested in watching the review for the Forgotten or African Kingdoms, you can find them also on my channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more RTS game reviews and other RTS content that I may do in the future. And I will see you soon, guys. Thanks for watching.